And we're recording. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. My name is George. I'm from the country of Dressrosa. I was the Secretary of Defense.
Devin. Um, my country name was the Socialist Republic of Eorza. I did not name that. I'm also the Secretary of Defense.
All right. We're going to be talking about foreign policy, the second part. And the first question, to what degree did your statecraft country exhibit symptoms of groupthink, an overestimation of a group's power, morality, incomplete surveys of information, opinions, risk, and pressures of towards uniformity? And what examples, if any, can we talk about that might have led to a bad outcome? And how could we have avoided it? So I guess I'll go ahead and talk about this one first.
Mhm.
I think early in the beginning, especially during turns 1, 2, and 3, there was there was a pretty strong amount of groupthink happening within my country, just because
Mm.
we were still kind of learning how to, use simulation, and we really didn't know. It felt kind of like a no man's land. We didn't know
Mm.
what everybody was trying to do yet,
Yeah.
and so there was a lot of tension where it's just like, ooh, like we know what we're doing, but what are they doing? I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think we kind of had to like calm our nerves a little bit.
Uh,
And so we started, focusing on just developing our own country. And I think we definitely saved a lot of time in avoiding, just overthinking in the
mm.
first turns. So I think that's really what really gave my country a good start in the beginning.
Okay, man. Uh, I think we had a bit of group thing going on too. I think ours was kind of the opposite of you guys's because we we felt like, okay, starting off, like, we got this. We didn't really have a solid plan, but we were just like, we gonna do this. We got it. We got it. And
Yeah.
then that went downhill very quickly. um, I mean, I think we was pretty like well versed on like, you know, communications with like other countries and things, and like developing relationships with people. Because I don't think that was a problem, at least in my perspective. Um, but I think a lot of it too, since it was just the two of us, uh, we kind of like assumed one person was gonna do something, and then like he assumed I was gonna do it, and it was a back and forth. So we really wasn't on the same page like later down. But in the beginning, we was like, okay, it's like, okay, cool, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how it was for you, but I think in the beginning it was a little tense, but not that bad. And then towards the middle, it was really calm. And then you probably know, like around turn 5, that's when like things popped off, and
Yeah.
we were all pointing fingers at each other, and we were just like, I feel like that around that time, that's when like the group thing was really strong for everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Especially with the like UN meetings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
those UN meetings were
All the
intense
accusatory comments and stuff like that. So yeah, I think groupthink was at its height in that aspect. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man, the level of anxiety I got during those meetings sometimes, man, it was bad.
Yeah. Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
I was just a spectator for most of it.
yeah,
You know, I did what I felt was right. I gave my opinions when I felt necessary, but majority of the time I was just spectator, just listening. Yeah.
yeah. No, it definitely seemed like my country was involved a lot, even though sometimes we might have felt like we we really didn't want to.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
So I
Because
feel like that probably.
you guys were you know what I'm saying? Well, from my point of view, I thought you guys were like first, like the whole way through. That's what I was thinking. Cause y'all seemed pretty cohesive, like throughout the whole thing. Y'all was, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I can definitely say I was pretty lucky to have the group members that I have because we were all throughout the whole simulation in the same
Yeah.
page in some way or another, and so we never really fought over anything.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Me and um, me and Ian didn't talk enough to fight over anything. So outside of class, like me and him didn't converse about anything. It was more so just like when he got on, he made some adjustments, and I looked when I got on and I seen it, and I was like, okay, well, that's what he done. Then I'm just gonna you know take it into my own hands to do this over here since he got this area, I guess.
Mhm.
But it really was no very minimal communication in our aspect. Yeah, but what you want to do? Hmm. I guess how could we have avoided the group think? Uh,
Yeah.
hmm. I don't know. I don't know how my group specifically could have avoided it. What about you? What you?
Um, I think especially after turn five, the embassies helped a lot
Yeah.
just because it made sure that we were able to see what the other countries were doing,
Mm-hmm.
and it gave some peace of mind
Mm-hmm.
throughout the whole conflict around that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just like watching over one or two countries that we couldn't see what they were doing, it was already bad enough, right?
Yeah.
So imagining everybody else, we would, yeah, we would go insane. So I think embassies definitely helped a lot to, avoid groupthink. And I also think just making sure that we try to keep the peace as much as we can
Yeah.
and just, try to communicate because I feel like a lot of the tension that happened was just because, we said things too late or not early enough, or we just weren't clear enough
Yeah.
or
And then
something
too,
communicating.
uh, I think what added to it was also like how the game simulates the rumors
Yeah,
and
yeah.
whatnot. I think that added to a lot of it too, because I was like, man, like, because everybody was like, well, they said that you're receiving tribute from this, and they're getting this from this. You know what I'm saying? It's like really no way of validating that. Everybody was just like, man, he said, she said, so that's what we're gonna go off to. That's what we're going off of. The game doesn't lie, you know. So I thought that was interesting too.
I definitely felt like some of those emails that we got, it felt like fake news, like it's just a game
Yeah,
stirring the
man.
pot on purpose.
I'm saying, I'm pretty sure that was true. I agree with that. Because I was like, 'cause some of the things they were saying, I was like, man, I don't know. But, I was like, I guess. I don't know how true that is.
I
So,
what
I
was
guess we
one.
can move on to question two.
Yeah, we can do that.
Alrighty.
Let's see.
So you want to read it or?
No, you go ahead. You can go ahead. We'll take turns.
All right. So it says, did your country's chief decision maker pursue a more domestic or participatory decision-making process, or was he or she more aristocratic, autocratic? I'm sorry.
You're good.
Give examples. How did this affect the quality of decision making in your group? And did the leader style depend upon the issue at stake? You can go ahead and answer that one first if you want.
Yeah. Let's see. Definitely right off the bat when we first started, um, Jenna, who's the president of Dressrosa,
Hmm.
she was definitely democratic throughout the
Yeah.
whole thing. And part of it, I feel like she wanted to make sure she wasn't doing all the work, which I totally get.
Hmm.
But she also wanted to be like inclusive. And so
Yeah.
we made it a point to meet up at least once a week, every week, to
Hmm.
discuss what we wanted to do, what our goals were, and which problem or which goal would take precedence for that week.
Hmm.
And somehow we made it work.
Yeah.
It took us a while to get it going, and the first few weeks were just kind of like, oh well, I'm gonna be a little late, but after that we pretty much had it like pretty solid. And yeah, whenever we did have some little debates here and there,
Hmm.
but a lot of the times it was just yeah, we all think this would be best for this week, for this turn. And so, yeah, we all just voted to do it and we would just move on.
Okay. Um, I think like one that was good on y'all's part. I think we definitely should have took the same steps, same action because Ian, he wasn't. I mean, although he was president, I mean, he was democratic, but we didn't. I was free to make any decision I felt like, and he was also free to make any decision that he felt. So I think that we had an equal amount of stake in it. Now, as far as like strategic wise, we had no strategy. Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, like at times we talked about it, but it was very like I guess superficial. It wasn't like an in-depth strategy that we had, and we was like, okay, like for this turn, this is what we're working towards, and we're trying to work towards this big project and this and that. Like he had a vision in his mind of what he wanted to do, and I had a vision in my mind, and we kind of talked about it a little bit, and then it was like, all right, bro, like use the resources as you wish to do what you think would be best, and I guess I'll try to pursue the same thing in my own right, and we just divvy the responsibilities like that. But um, throughout the game, it kind of like clashed because um, we used a lot of resources in like the wrong direction. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like we put a lot of eggs into a lot of different baskets. So as far as like getting like big projects and stuff like that, like we used up a lot of turns, a lot of scientific knowledge on things that were wasted, you know what I'm saying, that didn't come into fruition. So
Like what?
like I was trying to get the railroad the one that you guys had gotten.
Oh
What is it?
yeah,
Yeah.
the
So
Transnational Railroad. Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, man, like if we get this, bro, like we can, and he was on board with it. And then I don't know what happened. It took us so long to like, we didn't strategically think about like, okay, what's the quickest way that we could do this? Like, should we just bid on it or should we like go the regular route and like attain each technology and then finally get there? Because that's what I was thinking. And, you know, um, you guys end up getting it like way ahead of the time that we was on track to get it. So a lot of that time was wasted pursuing something that we wasn't able to attain anyway. So we lost resources and time and turns, trying to like, I guess, compete in a way. So yeah, man, I think, um, but as far as his style, I think, I don't think it really put anything like at stake necessarily. It just wasn't, our teamwork wasn't there like it should have been, I guess so. But it was still fun overall though, like being able to make the decisions and seeing what happens.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, I know for me, I really didn't do anything for almost the first half of the game because it was like, because I was still being informed and I was still making decisions with the rest of the group, right? But
Hmm.
like as Secretary of Defense, right, I'm in charge of, military and protecting the country. And
Yeah.
for the first half of the game, like I just remember Jenna saying, "We don't need a military. We don't need a military. We're just gonna be developing our country and doing our own thing."
Uh-huh.
And like I understood, right? Because like it was pretty calm for the first half of the simulation. And so I didn't really think there was a need for a military. So I was like, okay, we're fine. We're just gonna be chilling for a little bit.
Hmm.
And then I always forget how to pronounce the name. The yellow country,
Uh,
right?
I know
Aloitli?
yeah, Ability or whatever. Yeah.
Awalitsi? Yeah, and then they started attacking who was it that they attacked? They attacked a lot of people, right?
Yeah, they did. They attacked us like once.
Yeah, it was Euro, my
Yeah.
country was Rosa, Batty
Lame,
B,
man. Yeah.
and yeah, and so after that I kind of looked at Jenna and went, "You still think we need a military?" right?
Yo,
And
man, I
so
think,
yeah,
but I think for us, I feel like uh it was helpful in a way to like knowing that our country was like communist and militaristic because it kind of like because he only attacked us once. So I think that kind of like deterred him in a way, you know what I'm saying, from like continuing to like attack us because I think that he thought that we had amassed something like you know what I'm saying,
yeah,
like we just had an army on go that we was just gonna strike when need be. But I don't know. I think it kind of helped in that sense. But we really didn't get into a lot of conflict necessarily. Like looking at the maps, like over time and everything, we didn't really send any troops out. We didn't send no bombs or nothing like that. Besides, helping to take back uh the island. So yeah, man, I think I don't know. I just I'm trying to remember. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just think that damn, I'm going blank, bro. I'm sorry.
no, you're good.
But what were you saying though? Like,
I was going to say something. Let's see, because the last part of this question was talking about how our leader's style depended on the issue at stake, right?
mhm,
And so I think Jenna stayed pretty consistent throughout. She was pretty shaken by the attacks and the whole idea of, developing a nuke and potentially using it.
yeah,
But
yeah,
she stayed pretty steady, so I'm actually really proud of her for that. She didn't like bend or anything under the pressure of
yeah,
it all.
man. So
But
were you guys? So were you and Jordy like pressuring her to get the nuke?
we kind of were. We kind of were because Jenna really didn't want like any conflict, right? She just
Yeah.
wanted to, have us do our own thing, be kind of like an isolationist country in a lot of
Mhm.
ways. And me and Jordy were kind of looking out here, like watching Aloysius just attack everyone. We're just like, we need something to, fight back with because they
Uh-huh.
they they did attack my country like several times, and we were lucky enough to just not have any land taken,
Mhm.
which is crazy. But like each time we were just kind of looking at Jenna like we really need to have something, to fight back with.
Yeah.
And eventually towards the end, she was like, okay, we'll have something, we'll have a military. And so eventually we did, and that's when I became more active and like, all right, we'll put this in. And Jordy was having fun. He was also doing a lot of stuff too. So I mean, he dealt more with military, and I handled spies for a long time.
Hmm.
But yeah, definitely towards the end, she
Yeah,
changed
man.
up a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, man. Because I guess for us, I guess mainly throughout, like I was really just trying to stay out of sight, honestly, out of sight, out of
Yeah,
mind.
under the radar.
Yeah, bro. Just keep up decent relationships with different countries.
Hmm.
Um, I was mainly just making trades, trying to keep our own like domestic area afloat. Um, and I think I think I did an okay job. Um, I can tell you about Ian, when it came to like negotiations with other countries
Hmm.
because I know uh uh what's her name from Lameland, um not their
Who?
president, but Justina,
Uh-huh.
Justina, yeah, from Lameland. She was telling me I think it was a time that I wasn't there and Ian was a little aggressive, you know, in
Hmm.
fighting for our country and whatnot. So that was my first time like that was my first time hearing about that. And so, I just tried to balance it out. If that was his route and his approach, then I was gonna try to, at least keep some bridges from being burnt.
No,
Yeah.
I think you did a great job throughout the whole thing. I
Okay,
know like
cool.
Ian was pretty like straightforward with it all, and you were just kind of doing your own thing in the
Yeah.
background, just making sure, nothing
Yeah.
went too far with the whole making trades and, like communicating with the rest of the countries.
Mhm.
So I do think you did a good job. So
Uh, I think you did. I think you guys did good too. Because whenever I talked to y'all, it seemed like y'all was all on the same page. Y'all had, you know what I'm saying, came up with what y'all wanted to do. Um, it was really no like you know, like I could tell that it was no like no separation between y'all. That
yeah,
you know what I'm saying, that I couldn't influence or sway one of y'all to go a certain way or whatever.
yeah, there wasn't
Nobody
really
else
any,
could,
any infighting
yeah,
within my group, and we really had each other's back and support.
yeah, yeah, man. I like that though. Y'all had a pretty cohesive group, man. And uh, I know I wish our group could have been a lot more cohesive, and on the same page. Um, then also because it was just me and him. I forgot old girl's name, who was a part of our group, but she ended up just dropping the class totally.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it just left us with us two. But we tried to make it work, you know, tried to do the best we could. Yeah. Um, I guess we moving on to the next.
yeah. We can do question C. I'll go ahead and read this one.
All right, cool.
Let's see. Okay. Mirror imaging has been cited as an important cause of intelligence failure and is common in statecraft. Describe a case in which you or other members of your country engaged in mirror imaging during the simulation and wrongly assumed that others shared your values, perceptions, or calculations. What were the consequences? How might you have avoided mirror imaging? And what were the implications for real-world decision makers? Um, this is actually an interesting one for me.
Hmm.
Let's see. Describe a case. My other numbers. So this kind of circles back to the whole military thing with my country.
Hmm.
And so for like I think for the first three turns, I was kind of following behind Jenna's lead and not really having a military.
Hmm.
Even though like there was like a little part of me that I was like, we should have one just in case, right? Because like I thought it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, right?
Hmm.
And in the beginning, Jenna was really strict on just not having it. And so I didn't really fight her with it because I also at the same time, I really just wanted to test out the waters. And also, I kind of agreed with them because in the beginning, in the early stages, we were really focused on just developing our country and just making sure we have the resources and the stuff we needed to make any future projects come true. And
Hmm.
so I just went along with that and I really didn't have an issue. And then it wasn't until, Aloy started attacking everybody. And that's when I was just like, ooh, I really wish we had just like a really small army, just in case.
Hmm.
And then after that, there was also the whole nuke situation where we were just like debating on like, do we need a nuke? We should probably get a nuke. Maybe not. And, then debating that with with the other countries who were also like wanting a nuke. And there was a lot of ups and downs with that.
Hmm.
Because for me, initially I didn't want a nuke, right?
Hmm.
Because I personally felt like that would have just made things a lot more complicated and probably instill a lot more groupthink with
Yeah.
with the rest of the countries. And so like Jenna, I was like, oh no, 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 we probably shouldn't get a nuke. We don't need a nuke. And then the attacks just kept happening and tensions kept going up and it seemed like people were getting ready to like actually start a war.
Yeah.
And so Jenna still continued to say no, and I was kind of teetering back and forth, just like maybe we could use a nuke. I don't
Uh,
know. And then Jordy's he was all for it. He was like, let's go for it. Let's build a nuke. Let's blow some stuff up. And I'm just like, I feel like I'm the tiebreaker here, but I don't really know if like making a nuke is genuinely 100% like the best possible choice we can make. Because
hmm
like I understand like Jory's point of view, just having like the weapon at the ready.
hmm
But then I also understood like Jenna's point of view was like, well, let's have that like as our last option and let's see if we can
Yeah.
do everything else first.
hmm
And then and then like I guess like the pressure of like all the rest of the countries where they were kind of looking at like at my group going, oh, you guys have the resources, you guys have like the capacity to build a nuke. We're
Yeah.
looking at you guys to do it
Yeah. Yeah.
so you can like put an end to the situation.
hmm
And so that didn't really help me at all. And I was just kind of like, the mirror imaging was hitting me hard around that time, and I was like, I don't know, I gotta think about it. So yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like some of the consequences of that towards my country were we could have in unison, right?
Mhm,
Decide either yes or no.
mhm,
And it would have helped a lot to, maybe we could have gotten more projects done,
mhm.
or maybe we could have actually built a nuke and just ended everything before the simulation ended. But I don't know. I don't know. That's in the past now.
Man, as far as the group that I was in, I don't think we had a lot of mirror imaging in our group because like I said, we were pretty like distant. Our communication wasn't that great. Um, but I will say that I felt that from my perspective, I think that the mirror imaging happened with um with other groups, like Euro, and
Hmm.
we had like similar like interest at hand, or and when we had things to gain, So, and I also remember talking to around that time I was talking to Euro, and they had told me they was like, yeah, man, like we heard somebody's building a nuke, and I was like, who? Like, he was like, we
Ah,
assumed it was you guys, but
I
I'm
don't
like,
know. I don't
well,
know.
from asking, it seems like you don't know. And I'm like, oh, man, say the only people that had the resources to build a nuke is Abilitsi or you guys. And I was like, okay, man. So I hear nukes being, in the mix now. So I'm like, all right, now I'm actually gonna go build it because I'm hearing it and I don't know what's gonna happen. So that put me on the whole nuclear wave, and I was like, all right, bro. Like if I do anything, I have to at least build this nuke, bro. I had to get something, you know. And so from then on, that was my goal to get a nuke at least. Um, I did get them. I got two, but I wasn't able to use them.
Oh, really?
And yeah, bro, I got two at the end. Like right at the end, I got two, and then like the simulation was over.
Ah,
But
damn.
yeah, as far as the mirror imaging part, I think a lot of it for me was with other countries because when you talk and you're like, okay, well we're gonna side with what I'm saying, we're gonna side with Batty B and we're gonna build a treaty, and it seems like everybody has common goals together, and we, what I'm saying, this is what it's about. And then when it came to the wars, like how I said like my moral thing was about you know, did we want to take out Lame Land just because they were in first place, or did we want to take out Lame Land because we would actually benefit something? You know what I'm saying? Like it would be an actual benefit to us or whatnot. And I felt like I seen it diverge when talking to Euro, and it seemed like they were more so amped up just about taking them out because they were in first place. And I'm like, bro, like I, that
Yeah.
that didn't come across to me at first in the treaty. That wasn't in the treaty, bro. The spitefulness wasn't in the treaty, but I guess I'm gonna back out and do my own thing now. So, yeah, that's where my like mirror mirror imaging came in, was separating from what other nations thought as opposed to a situation.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the Lanelands debacle was really something else. Because it's like you were saying, some people want to get rid of them just because.
Yeah.
Some like others had like a legitimate like reason as to like why they wanted to get rid of them. I know for
Hmm.
me, like I really just wanted to get rid of the pirates. We didn't necessarily have to wipe them off the map,
Yeah.
like the way we did towards the end. And it was also kind of tying back to me wanting a military early on in the game because
Hmm.
there was one of the ways to get rid of pirates was to have a counterterrorism unit, but
Hmm.
that took to build that in the simulation took up a lot of resources and a lot of time. And towards the halfway point, by the time my country did get a military, we didn't have the resources or the time at that point, and so
Hmm.
I was kind of bummed out because I was like, well, we could have gotten rid of the pirates if we'd done this a little earlier, but instead we just invaded and took over their land, which arguably, from my point of view, I felt like it could have been avoided,
Hmm.
but given all the pressures from what was happening from with the other countries and we all like me and like the rest of the group, we just kind of collectively decided, okay, well, I mean, can't use counterterrorism units. We don't have a nuke yet,
Yeah.
obviously. So we're just gonna take the land and just get rid of the pirates that way.
I mean that that was cool. I think as far as us with the Pirates, I mean it did suck having them take you know some of our resources, but I don't think either of us were really paying much attention to it. You or Ian. Um, um, for me, I kind of just wanted to like my main goal became it didn't even become about winning the game. It was more so just about like putting us in an okay position to where if um a bigger conflict did ensue, that like we would at least be able to defend ourselves or
Mhm.
have some ties to another country that would be able to help us out. Or have like a pretty decent standing to say that like, okay, man, we don't deserve what's going on.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I think because when I got because when I logged on and I seen that you guys had taken Lame Land's country,
yeah.
some of their land, I was like, oh man. So me and Justina, I was talking to her and she told me, she was like, yeah, so do you mind if we take over a part of your country in order to get our country back? And I was like, okay. I was like, man,
I,
man, the last thing that y'all told me was about, what I'm saying? I was hearing more so, let's just take out Lame Land because they're first. So I'm like, all right, bro. Like, if I give them a part of the country, then they got to give me something. Give
mhm.
them a part of my country. So I was like, you guys can have a part of my country, but I would like you guys to hold off and not attack them or whatever. Like, I'll give you a part of my country. I can try to like negotiate on y'all behalf, you know, and then maybe they can give it back to y'all through whatever. That's what I was trying to do. I wanted to go talk to Justina and see if I can work out something in order for them to get their country back, so that, it wouldn't be more war and for no reason. Um, and through that, that's how I end up getting the nukes. And and I think it was like the last class meeting we had, and I went to what's her name in Ability. She was like the only one there for
Yeah,
most of
yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
I
So
know
I
who you're
was
talking
talking to
about.
her. I was talking to her, and that's when like I guess y'all got a bit worried because that's when Jenna came over there. It was like, okay, so we don't want you to nuke us. Which I wasn't even thinking about nuking you guys. I was just, you know, I was thinking like, damn, how can I at least try to place, not knowing that we don't have much time left, you know, and but yeah, uh, I don't know. I just think my main thing was just for defense, because I know I had backed out of I guess like total agreement with you guys in Euro. So I know that you guys are probably looking at me like, we don't really know where he stands. He might be a little against us. He might not be. So I was like, man, I don't know what's coming next. So I just need Period.
It's kind of the good thing, a good thing the simulation ended at that point because I feel like tensions were really, really high at that point.
Yeah, yeah,
Nobody
bro.
knew what was happening, and like that day specifically, I know Jenna was feeling a lot of the pressure, and so I
Hmm.
didn't blame her for like going after like checking up on your conversation, see what was happening. So I just kind of like followed behind her, make sure she wasn't like
Yeah.
freaking out too much. But I
Hmm.
mean, this is why I think it's important to listen to the quiet voices in the conversation because the loudest people in the room, they're there and obviously they'll be heard, but the quiet ones are always the ones who are like
You
they got
gotta
a little
watch
more
out for
reason
it.
to them. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
sometimes you do have to watch out for them. And I was hearing you out in, like the conversation that day,
Hmm.
and you definitely came off as more neutral to me.
Hmm.
Like you didn't really want conflict or anything like that. You just kind of wanted to keep the
Yeah.
peace, like you've been doing the whole simulation. And
Hmm.
so for me, I didn't feel worried about being nuked the way Jenna felt that day. I was kind of like comforting her and just like, we'll be all right, we'll be all right. Just don't you worry.
uh,
But
yeah,
yeah, it
man.
was definitely a lot that day.
Yeah, man. So I think yeah, I really didn't I didn't I felt like everybody was pretty genuine and what they were trying to accomplish, obviously besides Christopher, because he just
You know?
went maniac, just what I'm saying, out of nowhere, bro. He just started, you know, bombing and attacking people out of
Yeah,
nowhere. And
complete
I just
180.
yeah, I was like, what's going on, bro? Like and I didn't really get to talk to him much, but I what happened? I know he like when he initially attacked you guys, he messaged me and was like, do you want to join my question world domination? And I didn't say anything. I was like, nah, bro, that is the total opposite of what I'm looking to do right now, bro.
It's
And so we
funny
just
you
left it
mentioned that.
at that.
I had this particular memory with Christopher. Uh,
Mhm.
and I didn't remember that he was president of Aloysius at the time. But I
Mhm.
remember that first week when we first started, I was walking to the elevators to go down to the third floor, and he walked right next to me, and he introduced himself, right? Because we didn't know each other back then.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Oh, hey, yeah, like how you doing?" And then he was like, like doing his thing where he was like trying to talk me up, and he's like, "Hey, like what if like your country and my country we teamed up? We could like do something for the simulation." And I was like, "I'll think about it. I'll think
Yeah.
about it."
Mhm.
Because it was like it already sounded like he had a plan in his head already,
Yeah.
but it was like the vibe was just like he's up to something. I don't know what, but I'm gonna stay out
Yeah.
of it for now.
Uh-huh. Yeah, bro he definitely has some ulterior motives going on. I think uh yeah, as far as their group, I really just talked to I her name escapes me though, but the only female member of their group.
Mhm.
I talked to her every so often, and she was pretty much like me. She was very like, I don't whatever he says, I support it. I don't really think that it matters much anymore. Like he's gone off and done his own thing. So hey, you know, just see how the cars fall now. And I was like, okay, well, she clearly isn't a threat to anything. She's just riding the wave, man. Like, so I don't think um as far as Batty B, um I didn't think that I had uh uh many like instances where we like talked a lot. I think my main interactions with them were just like for trades. So I really didn't know what they wanted besides when they shout out the treaties and revise them like 3 times.
Yeah, that was funny.
Other than that, I had no idea what they were like. what their goal was, you know what I'm saying? If they had any ulterior motives or not. Like I just took what they said for face value and just kind of, kept them on the back burner.
No, yeah, it was kind of funny. They came out with like a new treaty like every other day, and I was just like,
Yeah.
which one are we doing?
Yeah, man. And then too, I know Shannon was taking the game very seriously. He was coming up to me and said, "Yeah, bro, so did you read the treaty? Um, it was an aspect in there that I didn't agree with, and you should go back and read it too. And you shouldn't accept it because they put this specifically in there." And I was like, man, I just seen the treaty, man. I signed it, bro.
I think he was just competitive. Like he still knew it was a game, but I feel like Euro with just like my country, we were both competitive. We played to
Yeah,
win, right?
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah,
that's what our goal was, to just like
yeah.
win the game.
Yeah, man. I think it definitely made it a lot funner though, when
Oh,
you
for
do have
sure.
people that are actually playing the game and have stake in the game, and I think it made it a lot funner, a lot more enjoyable than I thought because I had never played the game before.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was pretty cool, man. It was a fun experience.
Yeah. My first impressions for the simulation was really I just thought we were gonna be like super calm throughout the whole time.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But looking back on it now, like my country was competitive, Euro was competitive.
Uh-huh.
Italy, they were definitely the wild card throughout the simulation.
Yeah.
So I think it was a good amount of, balance and
Mhm.
chaos that really made
Yeah.
it interesting for us.
Yeah, man. And I do regret one regret that I have about the game is I should have just went through and read all the rules like just in one shot because I was reading the rules as I went. Like
Hmm.
I would do something, I'm like, man, it ain't. I don't, how does this work? I don't know. And then I would go read the rules about it, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then something else will pop up, and then I go read the rules. Like I should have just read the rules at the beginning of the game, so I would have known what I could do and what I couldn't do, and how to get around certain things. I think that also really like hindered me in our group.
Hmm.
Yeah. How did y'all go about like did y'all read the rules like in the beginning of the game or what?
Um,
As y'all went?
so for me, I read a lot of the rules within like the first week or two. And
Mm,
so I was already pretty familiar. It was just a matter of, actually doing it just to get the hang of it.
okay.
Jenna, our president, she also read the rules. And then Jordy, he also read them, Secretary of State. And he was playing Statecraft in another class. So he was definitely racking up experience for sure,
Yeah.
which I will say that definitely gave my team the edge
Yeah,
because
man.
we all read the rules. Jordy was doing double time statecraft, and we were all on the same page. So we were just rolling throughout the whole time.
Mm, yeah, man. Yeah. Like I said, y'all always seem to have a game plan, bro. Y'all, you know, and I thought that was cool. I was like, man, how they moving so quick, man? I was thinking, I was like, how they moving so quick? How they getting these?
Those
You know
meetings,
what
man.
I'm saying?
Those meetings come into play.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man. So, dude, I think it was cool. Um, so I guess the final aspect of the podcast would be to that we each come up with a question and answer it, I guess.
Yeah. Um,
Okay. Um, I don't know if you've come up with a question yet.
I do have I do have one question that I've come up with, and I'll go ahead
Okay.
and ask this to you and see what your take is on it. So after playing the simulation, right, and after playing your role as Secretary of Defense, do
Mhm.
you feel like you understand like foreign policy better now than when you did in the beginning of the semester?
Um, if I'm being honest, I would say no. I would say no. I say no because um when I think about foreign policy, I don't necessarily think about my role in making like the decisions. I think about like the research aspect and all the the levels it has to go through in order to get, you know what I'm saying, in order to
Hmm.
be implemented, you know? When in the game we could just do whatever we wanted at any time and make up what we wanted on the spot and it would, be what it was. And I think like, when I think foreign policy is a lot slower because the machine is a lot bigger and it's real. And
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
I don't think as far as like negotiations and like being a mediator and things of that nature, I would say that it highlighted those skills, what I'm saying, and those aspects of foreign policy. But as far as like my pure understanding of foreign policy, I don't think it really like left a great impression on me or a better understanding. What about you?
Um, I feel like it did. I mean, I already had a pretty basic understanding when I first walked in.
Mm-hmm.
But after the simulation and after all the interactions between, the different countries and all of the issues that we were trying to handle, I do feel like I understand foreign policy a little more from the inside looking out
Mm-hmm.
instead of the outside looking in, like how any of us usually would.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was really what I really felt like I learned more about was how to handle um issues between countries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like yeah, we do have like in the real world, we do have a process to make policies and how to implement them.
Mm-hmm.
But it really taught me that, that communication, making sure that your ideas are clear to the other person
Yeah.
is it's really important in foreign policy because if they get the wrong idea, you're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, it's a lot of assuming, a lot of room for assumptions,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, I understand with that. I agree. I agree with that. Um, as far as my question, I guess mine's a little more simple than
Mhm.
that.
All good.
What did you think the hardest part about Statecraft was?
Hardest part.
Mm,
I think the hardest part about Statecraft was one, learning how to use it to begin with,
mm,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Because
definitely.
a lot of us were new, and so we were just like, how do we're just gonna have to. There's definitely a learning curve to it.
Mm,
Because I'm not gonna lie to you, so like there was some points in the simulation where I was refreshing the page because it was kind of glitching out and it was kind of lagging, and I was just like, Jordy's telling me that we got battleships on the coast, but I'm refreshing the page and I don't see anything,
they
and it's
not
just like,
popping up, yeah.
yeah, they're not popping up. I'm just like, I don't know if like we got attacked or if we didn't. I
Mm,
don't know. I'm just like counting on the website to keep up, and then sometimes it wouldn't do it, and so I was kind of like, it really held back my decision making because I didn't have all the information, right?
mm,
And so I didn't know if I was making the right choice or not at the time. And so I think that for me was the hardest part of the game.
okay. Um,
Janky ass website.
I think I think for me the hardest part uh regarding statecraft would probably be I think like trying to assume what everybody else was thinking or what they were gonna do, you know,
Hmm.
and and sitting down to talk to people and trying to like steer them in a certain way, like to keep them from but making them think that it's their idea, but you know
Kind of manipulate the conversation a little bit.
sort of, like I think that was kind of it was interesting to me, but um it was hard because like what happened to you necessarily didn't happen to somebody else. Like at least us, because I said we only got attacked once. So, like our land never got taken, what I'm saying, by force. So we didn't just lose a war or anything, trying to get some territory back or whatnot. So I think trying to see everybody's and understand everybody's reasons um for their own actions and why they needed to do what they needed to do for their own country, and like trying to keep in mind that like okay, like that to some degree that they are justified in what they trying to, what I'm saying, pursue or
Hmm.
whatever they want, trying to get across, and I think that was probably like one of the hardest parts, trying to like understand like okay, where they coming from. I see you. I see where you're coming from, and I probably would do the same thing if I was in your shoes too. But do you mind looking at it like this? So I think that was probably one of the hardest parts about it, and definitely like you said, the game, the learning curve of the game, trying to adjust to seeing the attributes and the territory borders and clicking all the filters to see what's going on and who's major production of resources in this, what I'm saying? Like who majorly
Yeah.
produces resources and whatnot. So I think a lot of that and the bombardment of emails, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was at some point where I was like looking at my email box and it said like 120, and I was like, man,
Yeah, I'm
do I
like, I'm
really
not
have to
about to
read
do
all of
that.
these?
Yeah, I'm definitely like, if I see Socialist Republic or Eorzea, then I might click on it. But
You
other
might
than that,
click on
probably
it.
not clicking on it.
I definitely agree with you. Like besides the learning curve, one of the
Yeah,
hardest parts of the game was really just perspective, right? Like making sure that we kept our perspective while also trying to see the other perspectives of the different countries that were having their own issues.
yeah.
And it's hard to come to a conclusion to like kind of meet in the middle when
Yeah,
you're viewing their perspective, but they're not doing the same thing.
yeah, 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 man. And and two, the like you were saying, like the communication, like actually, because it's one thing like saying what you have to say and talking, and getting your point across versus like listening to somebody else. So a lot of like the UN meetings, it was a lot of like, I need to
Yeah,
get what I need to say
it was
across.
like a yelling match almost.
Yeah. So it wasn't a lot of, listening, active listening, I would say. So that was also a challenge, you know.
Hmm. I I got one more question.
Hmm.
And I guess we could probably have this as our closer.
Okay,
But
cool.
if you had the chance to play the simulation again, would you do it? And would you have like a different position in mind?
Uh, I would play it again.
You would?
I think, yeah, yeah. It was more interesting than I initially thought. Because when he first like mentioned the game, I was like, "You never playing the game, nigga. I don't want to." Like I was
Hmm.
like, "Man, I ain't played this before. Now I got to read the rules of something, and this is totally new, and now I got to learn how to do it." And yeah, no, I didn't want to. I was like, "Man, I just want to come in here, do my work, bro, and move on." But it was actually fun because it was it made us like engage with each other, like in the
Yeah.
typical class when it's just lecture and you kind of just listen and you go home and nobody really talks to anybody. So um, it kind of like fostered that relationship aspect of the class. But what would I do different? Um, what would I do different? I would definitely um, have a better strategy than what we had. You know what I'm saying? Now, like I would definitely like outline, like sit and like outline, like okay, these are the goals, and what's the quickest way that I can reach these goals? You know, in the
Yeah.
least amount of time with these turns. And uh, yeah, I would say that would probably be the main thing that I would do different. Is come up with an actual like a, a
A real plan.
yeah, yeah, man. What about you?
I would definitely do it again. Kind of like how you were saying in the beginning. I was a little thrown off because I walked into the classroom thinking, we're gonna grab a textbook, we're gonna read, typical lecture stuff. And then I
Hmm.
read the email saying, we have to pay for the simulation. I was like, I gotta spend money on a video game? What? And then, as we progress, right? Like I started you know, interacting more and talking with the other classmates, and I was having a lot of fun with it. I was like, you know what? This is pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah,
And towards the end, like me, Jenna, and Jordy were all just like, man, like the game's over. Like what? Really? Like, damn.
yeah.
I was like telling them like best $38 I ever spent. Like, because I'm not gonna lie, in the beginning, I was like, I really gotta like pay money. Like, I'm already paying enough money just being in the
Uh-huh.
university, So,
Yeah.
but I definitely don't regret it now. I definitely would do it again.
Hmm.
I don't. I would probably stay in the realm of Secretary of Defense or maybe Secretary of State. I don't think I'd want to be president,
Hmm.
mainly just because I feel like my type of character is best done like as a supportive role.
Well, yeah,
I
I feel
don't
you.
like, yeah, I don't mind leading if that's what I have to do, but
Hmm.
I would prefer if I just, because I'm a big helper. I just like to help. So
Yeah,
if that's what I can do, then I would choose that.
yeah, man. I definitely understand. I feel like that's why I chose to be Secretary of State too, because I just wanted to, just support, man. But I guess throughout the game, um, my role kind of shifted more so, like as to lead, since my
Yeah.
partner was only there on certain days, and it seemed like I was making a lot of decisions. So, which I mean, it was cool. Um, it was cool. It was interesting, but ideally, I probably just would have rather supported. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember the first week as well. I was telling this to Jenna and Jordy when we
Hmm.
were first deciding who was going to be president of the country. Like like immediately I looked at both of them and I went, I'm not going to be president. I'm better off a supportive role. So whatever else is out there, like I'll pick one of the two, but I'm not going to be president. And so
Yeah.
we ended up picking Jenna just because like me and Jordy were just like woman.
Boy, say one. Bro say
Yeah. And we're just like,
feminism.
we're gonna have a woman president and it's gonna be amazing. And it was.
Yeah,
It
man, y'all
was.
did good, bro. Y'all did
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, I really am
Uh,
proud of the both of them, really. Like both Jordy and Jenna.
yeah, man. And I feel like as far as Ian becoming president, that kind of was just in my mind. I was like, dude, he's outspoken anyway. It's in his personality, so it seems like he wants to be president.
Yeah, it just kind of
So
fit. It just kind of fit
yeah, so I
right.
was just like, man, go ahead, bro. Like,
If
but
the
yeah,
shoe
man,
fits, it fits.
yeah, go ahead, and wear it, man. So I just, let him do his thing, um, and just try to have as much fun as I could, I guess, with the game.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, what is that? Does that put us at our time that we need?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
All right, then.
I think
All
let's
right, man.
go
It
ahead
was
and
cool
close
talking to
off.
you, man.
Yeah, it was good talking to you too.
Yeah, bro. All right, man. I guess I'll see you in class though,
Yeah, I'll see
huh?
you. I'll see you on Monday.
All right, bro.
All right.
All right. See you.